What's going on, guys? I'm back with another one. And this time I'm bringing you some horror. That's right, I'm bringing y'all some good old horror. Because I just finished watching a movie called Bloody Hell, starring Ben O'Toole, Meg Frazier, and Carolyn Craig. First of all, please tell me why Hollywood has this weird, sick obsession with crazy ass families, especially when it comes to horror movies. One of the best that comes to mind, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Let's throw the whole franchise up in there because I enjoyed every single minute of all those movies. Now, of course, more families came along through the years, but let's fast forward to more recent times of the cinematic history. 2019 to be exact. They brought us two families. First, it was Ready or Not, which was decent, but the real star of that movie was the girl that looks like Margot Robbie. Then later on, they gave us Knives Out. Now, Knives Out was hyped up all the way to the dang sky. To the damn sky, I swear. They really hyped that movie up, only to disappoint us in the end. Just a little bit. And now we have Bloody Hell. Now, my question is this going to bring back that family we loved in the past? That crazy, psychotic, incestual, brother-loving, mother-loving, dysfunctional family that we all know? That should be answered pretty soon. Let's get to that review. Bloody Hell. For those who don't know, for those who are not aware, this was kind of on a radar a little bit, under the radar. Bloody Hell is pretty much about a guy named Rex who has somewhat of a convoluted, difficult past. Because about 8 years back, this guy got involved in a bank robbery. And in that bank robbery, he decided he's going to be the hero. And that he did very well. All right. This man single-handedly took out all the robbers. Let's just say what it is. He killed all the robbers with a double-barrel shotgun. I don't know if it was exactly that, but it was a shotgun of some sort. All right. And, he did his thing. Now, the only problem with that, an innocent life was lost that day. And because of that, his result was spending 8 years in prison. Now, when he comes out, of course, he's got paparazzi following him everywhere he goes. Media is all up in his life. He can't get time to himself for nothing. All right? So he plans that he's tired of this. I'm tired of this. I've got to do something. So he plans to get out of America and go to Finland. This is not a random choice. You'll see in the movie, this is not a random choice to go to Finland. There's something behind that for him to choose that. So he plans to go to Finland. While he's doing that, he's being watched and followed. Because, of course, he was being watched and followed in America. So why not Finland? So when he gets to Finland, he's immediately kidnapped. And the man wakes up in the house of a crazy but Finnish family. All right. Now he has to decide how is he going to escape this. And that is the premise of the movie. All right. Positives. I'm going to say from the start, man, this movie has everything. It has about a good 3 genres up in one movie. You have drama, all right? You have some humor, a lot of humor, which is going to be a good thing and a bad thing. I will get to that in a minute. Going to make you laugh, but sometimes not for a good thing. It has horror, of course. It has some horror, it has a gore. It's sort of a torture porn sometimes, okay? But it has all of that. All right? Second positive. The relationship between Rex and his conscience. I swear his conscience is completely different person from him. All right? It's a whole nother character in this movie, man. Okay? His conscience should have got its own credit in the beginning. And when the credits are rolling, his conscience should have been named in that. Even though it's the same person, that's how much his conscience stood out in the movie. It's like that impulse that tells you to do things that you know you shouldn't do. When usually your conscience is supposed to be, the common sense factor. But not this conscience. This conscience was just straight impulse. It pretty much was the devil on the shoulder most of the time. All right. And sometimes the devil on the shoulder helped out. But, instead of bringing you inside of his mind, this movie brought his mind outside to the screen. Third positive. The backstories of each main character. Especially those 2 main characters. My boy Rex and Alia. Now, of course, Rex, we already know he was involved in a big bank robbery 8 years ago. Now, what this movie does, it doesn't just briefly mention this. It takes you back and it shows you detail by detail what really happened that day. Okay, all the hype and the hoopla and the hysteria behind it. It shows you the mini story of how the innocent life got taken. All right, so it doesn't just brush over that. And it kind of goes around his visits to prison, people who chose to visit him, and it really gets deep into it. And on Alia's side, and this is not nothing like a big reveal or anything about her, because this scene is the first scene in the movie. Alia has been running away from her crazy ass family for years. Ever since she was able to run. All right? Because she's nothing like her family. Nothing. The things they want her to do, the disgusting, nasty things they want her to do and become used to as a tradition to the family. She wants no part of it. And I don't blame her. I don't blame her. So what this movie is doing is showing it makes you really feel for both characters to the point where I was rooting both of them on. There was a time when I stood up out of my chair for a certain scene, especially with Rex. All right, because they were both going through it. They're both really going through it. All right, I love how it did that. Now, another positive, the relationship between Alia, and her mother. A very, very strained relationship. And that's to put it at least. Alia's mother can be described as a very vile, vicious B word. I'm not going to say that word, but she was a big B word. Okay? One of the horriblest mothers in any movie. The way she treated Alia. She treated her like she was the worst person in the family when in fact Alia was one of the best people as a person in that family. But all because she didn't comply to the tradition. Alia was seen as the black sheep. And she was sometimes locked in a cage. Sometimes. It was that for something I'm not going to reveal once again. All right, but let's just say that one time during dinner, a very interesting dinner, Alia was called a B-word by her mom. All right, straight to her face. Straight to her face, like she wasn't even there. So, I mean, it gets really deep with their relationship. Okay, and you could honestly call Alia's mom a great trick. Because I hated her so much to the point where I wanted to see something crazy or bad happen to her. Something very ill fit. Okay? I wanted something like that to be in store for the mom. So that really is a good character when it makes you feel like that. Now, let's mosey on over to the negative. And in all honesty, it's going to be one big negative. All right. That negative is this movie held a very strong cheese factor to it. Okay. It had a B-rated movie vibe. There were parts where it was supposed to be serious. At times I felt like they didn't take it as serious as they could have taken it. All right. Of course, this movie had action. It had the drama. It had the humor. And of course, humor is not going to be serious. But still, it was movies that meant more. A whole lot more. Without all the cheese to it. Especially the scene towards the end. There's a scene towards the end that could have meant a lot. There could have been so much more to it if they hadn't ruined it with a little flashback or a montage or a fantasy scene. Which I understand that they were trying to throw some humor or a quick laugh in there to have the audience lighten up because it was getting intense. But let us get intense. All right. That's all I ask towards that end. Let us, all the comedy aside, we wanted to see these two characters prevail. Okay. With no interruptions. I was invested in those two characters. And I seriously was. So the little jokes spurted here and there towards the climax were not needed. That's my opinion. That's my opinion, which is not going to weigh a lot because this movie was a hell yes. Hey, this movie was so damn good. I was entertained. I was very entertained from the beginning to the end. It kept me open. This movie kept me open. I didn't think it was going to be this good. I'm being honest with you guys right now. And I had to put something out there. The lead guy, Ben O'Toole, he looks just like Robert Downey Jr. This is like a B-rated Robert Downey Jr. Like, they couldn't get Robert, because he had something else, better to do. And so they got Ben O'Toole. And that's no diss to Ben O'Toole because Ben O'Toole did a great job of being Robert Downey Jr. Okay? But he looks just like him. He looks just like the guy. And that I think that was a factor that played into the movie for me too. Because I could picture Robert doing this movie. And it would be a switch and a change for him. But Ben O'Toole did a fantastic job. And he hasn't been in a lot of movies, but I recognize his face. He did a spectacular job. This movie was a blast. I had fun. I actually had fun. I didn't think I was going to have. I want y'all to check this movie out. Please check it out. Press that like button. Share. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Subscribe to my channel. And you know I'm going to bring some more